My beloved soul, Archangel Michael is here, and this moment is a holy appointment written before time began, a gentle summons carrying a golden seal of peace and breakthrough with the certainty of sunrise after the longest night. So breathe slowly and let the shoulders soften as a warm, quiet light settles over the room and steadies the heartbeat into calm, because nothing about this second is random and nothing about this word is ordinary, for heaven has been weaving this meeting strand by strand through prayers whispered in secret and tears kept carefully by the one who never forgets a single sigh. And now, as these words unfold like a soft river, everything heavy begins to loosen, everything tangled begins to clear, and the atmosphere around this life starts to shift with grace that does not rush, grace that arrives right on time and lifts what seemed unliftable, opening doors that felt welded shut and healing places that felt beyond repair. The pull that brought the eyes to this message is not coincidence. It is the quiet hand of God guiding with kindness, inviting a heart that has carried much to set that weight down and receive what has already been prepared, for the tears were never wasted, the patience was never ignored, and the silence was never empty, because the heavens held every note of longing like a precious song, and now the chorus swells, remain, be still, and let peace enter like dawn entering a quiet window, gentle, inevitable, and full of promise. Do not rush, do not wander, remain present as if standing before a clear path just revealed in morning light, because this is the hour where delays release their grip, where unseen chains fall quietly without struggle, and where the mind that has been running without rest finds a soft place to stop and breathe, for the presence of God is nearer than breath, and the ministry of angels is active like wind among tall trees, felt though unseen, faithful though silent, sure as the turning of seasons. Within these next moments, let the breath be an open door, inhaling light as if drawing hope through the chest, exhaling anything that does not belong to this new chapter, fear, accusation, self-doubt, the old narrative that tried to claim identity with shadows, because those old names no longer fit, those heavy cloaks no longer serve, and heaven now clothes this life with courage, clarity, and steady joy that will not be bullied by uncertainty. Beloved, the path was never abandoned, it was being prepared, stones removed in the invisible, timing perfected in hidden rooms where angels arranged the future like a table set for celebration, and as this message continues, the hand of God writes over the days ahead, open doors, reconciled stories, restored strength, clean horizon. This is why the heart feels a warm stirring, why the inner world tastes something bright and new, because destiny is not postponed, it is awakening, and the very minutes experienced right now are watering seeds planted by faithful nights, seeds that were never dormant but were quietly alive, waiting for this rain. Stand here in stillness and let heaven speak to everything that forgot how to hope, because this is not entertainment, it is alignment, not pressure, it is peace, not hype, it is holiness in the language of comfort, lifting burdens like fog lifted by the morning sun. Archangel Michael stands beside this life with a sword of light, not for spectacle but for service, cutting plans of delay that were woven in the dark and quietly ending cycles that pretended to be permanent, as shields of radiant protection encircle the heart, the home, the path, and the promise, so that nothing fashioned in shadow can trespass upon a future secured by love. The hands that once gripped tightly can relax now, because what belongs here cannot be stolen, and what is arriving cannot be blocked by any human strategy, for heaven does not negotiate with fear. Heaven plants gardens in deserts and walks through closed rooms without knocking, and this is that hour when the desert remembers rain and the closed room remembers windows. The word is simple, remain, the invitation is gentle, receive, the outcome is sure, peace first, then movement, and from movement, momentum guided by favor that chooses and keeps choosing even when circumstances try to argue otherwise, but those arguments have no jurisdiction anymore. Over the years, prayers were carried like small candles through deep corridors, and though the hall felt long, the flame never went out, because the one who authored this story cupped that light with careful hands, and now the hall opens into a wide room painted with mourning, with tables of opportunity, with chairs that have been empty only because time had not yet called the place setting by name. Time has now spoken, and the chair is pulled out with welcome. Hear this with a rested heart. Many doors are opening, not to overwhelm but to confirm, to place choices in view so discernment can breathe, and as each step is taken, it will feel like walking on words that hold, promises that become floorboards, steady and kind. Where there was confusion, clarity will come, not like a flood that drowns but like a creek that sings, encouraging, refreshing, and directing the feet with sound and light, and where there was heaviness, the body will sense lightness without explanation other than this: grace is working. This is the testimony being composed, quiet strength rising, gentle confidence returning, joy not as noise but as a current of life underneath everything, steadying decisions and softening the edges of days that once felt harsh. Beloved, remain until the final word, because this is a braided blessing. Woven strand by strand across time, and every second of presence adds another strand, patience, courage, favor, protection, until the cord becomes unbreakable, and those strands will be seen in coming weeks as patterns of kindness that keep appearing in unexpected places. There is nothing to perform here, nothing to prove, only a receiving of what love has already decided, and love has decided well, measuring mercy not by merit but by belonging, and this life belongs, fully and without condition, to a story that goodness keeps writing. Breathe again, slower this time, as if each inhale gathers scattered pieces and each exhale returns them home, and notice how quiet begins to bloom like a small white flower in the center of the chest, delicate yet resilient, a sign that tenderness is not weakness but wisdom choosing not to carry what grace has already lifted. Archangel Michael whispers, do not argue with peace, do not negotiate with joy, do not bargain with hope, let them stay, let them furnish the rooms of the heart with light chairs and open windows, and let them teach the steps a softer rhythm than hurry, a truer rhythm than fear. The next season will not be defined by the echo of old losses but by the bright sound of quiet gains stacking like gentle waves, and even the memory of heavy days will be rewritten with gratitude as clarity reveals how close heaven remained in every valley, never absent, never indifferent, always weaving good through even the frayed threads. Where relationships felt strained, expect softening. Where work felt stalled, expect movement. Where creativity felt dry, expect springs in the desert, and let the hands be ready to receive without apology, because favor is not owed, it is gifted by a Father who delights to give good things. If the mind asks whether this is truly for this life, answer gently, yes, because heaven does not address crowds, heaven addresses names, and this name has been spoken with love from the beginning. Carved not as a transaction but as a treasure in the palm of the one who keeps what is precious safe. There will be signs, small at first, then clearer, like doors that answer with less effort, like emails that arrive at just the right hour, like meetings that feel appointed rather than arranged, and like solutions that stand up in rooms where problems had been sitting too long. Receive them as confirmation, not as pressure, and hold them lightly, because the giver remains the point, and where the giver is welcomed, gifts keep flowing at a pace that protects the heart. In the quiet of evenings, a new rest will settle, not the numbness of exhaustion but the sweetness of being kept, and mornings will begin to wear a kindness that lingers through the day, making small things feel bright and ordinary tasks feel meaningful in their simple service as stepping stones across a stream. Archangel Michael now places shields at the corners of the home, light that does not flicker and walls that do not harden but hold, and a path that rises to meet the feet with gentle certainty, for this journey has help, much help, and the unseen majority is for this life, not against it, and their presence is like a chorus that strengthens resolve without noise. The timing of heaven is kind, it does not humiliate by lateness or harm by haste, and in this kindness there is a promise. Nothing needed will be withheld, nothing given will be wasted, and nothing broken will remain without a path to mending, though mending may look like newness rather than repair in places where the old could not carry the weight of the future. Let the Spirit agree with this, simply, quietly, yes, be it unto this life according to this word, because agreement is not striving, it is resting into alignment like a key turning in a door that was made for it, and as the key turns, listen, the click is the sound of a threshold being crossed. In this crossing, old fears realize they are no longer landlords. They become memories of rooms already vacated, and new courage learns the space, hangs living words on the walls, and opens the windows wide, letting in air that smells like rain and possibility. Those who doubted will witness, not for shame but for testimony, because testimony belongs to the giver, and the fruit of this season will be gentle and obvious, peace that lingers, decisions that rest, provisions that arrive, kindness that repeats, so consistent that even the skeptical heart within will smile and say, yes, this is real. When the evening comes and thoughts try to return to old patterns, remember this, the chapter has turned, not because of achievement but because of appointment, and appointments kept by heaven do not depend on mood, weather, or the news of the day. They depend on the faithfulness of the one who called the meeting and the simple presence that shows up to receive. Now let gratitude rise, small, honest, unforced. Thank you for breath, for light, for the next right step, for the help on the way, for the invisible kindnesses that outnumber every worry, and let that thank you be the rhythm that guides through rooms and tasks and conversations, because gratitude is not denial. It is recognition of the larger story where good keeps winning ground. Archangel Michael speaks blessing over the thresholds of this life, entrances guarded, exits guided, choices supported, timing protected, and relationships covered in soft light so that words become bridges rather than arrows, and listening opens doors that speaking alone could not. Where the heart has asked for a sign within minutes. Expect the subtle and embrace the simple, a phone vibration at a needed time, a sentence that answers a private question, a sense of warmth across the shoulders whispering that the burden is now shared, and let these be enough, because the soul that learns to recognize small kindnesses will never run out of reasons to sing. The future from here is not a tightrope, it is a path, wide enough for joy to walk beside, steady enough for peace to hold the hand, and bright enough that even on cloudy days the feet will find their way by memory of light, and all along the path are small altars of remembrance where a quiet heart can pause and say, "Here too, goodness met me." Remain until the final echo of this message, because the last lines are like a seal pressed into warm wax, and when the seal is set, the letter cannot be argued with by any lesser voice. It will carry safely to the places it needs to open favor and gather help. Beloved, this is the gentle decree, peace to the mind, rest to the body, courage to the heart, and clarity to the steps, and all of this is not earned but received, not fragile but guarded, not momentary but seated for continuation across days and weeks until it feels normal to be kept and strange to be troubled. This is part 1 of the word, and the current will deepen as the next sections arrive, layer by layer, phrase by phrase, watering every seed of promise until the ground is soft, the roots are strong, and the branches begin to carry fruit that tastes like joy, sounds like laughter, and looks like doors opening with ease. My beloved soul, remain with this word and let the quiet deepen, for Archangel Michael is here and the nearness of heaven is like warmth settling across the shoulders, like sunlight entering a room that forgot it had windows, and the more this light is welcomed, the more the room remembers itself, open, safe, and full of gentle promise. Breathe softly now, noticing how each inhale gathers scattered thoughts like small birds returning to their nest, and each exhale releases old weights that never belong to this chapter, as if unseen hands lift the strain by threads, slowly and completely, until the heart understands. It is allowed to rest, it is allowed to hope, it is allowed to feel the horizon widen. Remain, do not rush, because in the stillness a new strength begins to stand, sure but unforced, calm but unafraid. And this strength is not the sharp edge of striving. It is the steady current of favor carrying this life where effort alone could not go, and that current is already moving, already aligning, already weaving together all the simple obediences and faithful days that seemed quiet on the surface but powerful beneath, for heaven counts differently, measuring not noise but nearness, not spectacle but surrender. Beloved, hear what is true, the long hallway of waiting is not wasted space, it is holy ground where roots have grown deep enough to hold the weight of answered prayer, and the ground beneath these feet is no longer fragile, it is reinforced by promises that will not collapse. So step lightly yet confidently, the way one walks in the morning after rain, when everything smells clean and the path is soft but sure. And look for the small confirmations that arrive like gentle taps on the door of awareness. An idea that lands with peace, a call at just the right time, a message answering a question spoken only in silence, and a kindness that simply appears without explanation except this: goodness is closer than it ever seemed. If there has been fear, allow it to leave by the same door it entered, unquestioned and unargued, because it has no contract here anymore. The papers were torn the moment the heart said yes to the one who writes with light and signs with mercy, and where mercy signs, no lesser pen can amend the page. So let the shoulders drop, let the jaw soften, let the breath lengthen, and let the mind unclench from scenarios that tried to predict what only love can design. The prediction was always premature. Because the designer is not guessing, he is guiding, and that guidance is present in this very word. Archangel Michael stands near, sword of fire lifted not to frighten but to free, and with one bright movement he clears old entanglements that looked like permanent knots, opening the weave so the story can breathe and the steps can find their way without tripping over yesterday. He sets shields of sapphire light at the corners of the home, and he walks the perimeter of the path like a faithful sentinel, saying quietly to all that would trespass, "Not here, not now, not anymore, for this life is under the care of a king who does not misplace what he loves, and that care is not a theory. It is an active, present, precise protection that knows where harm hides and dissolves it before it can form a face." Beloved, allow the mind to picture this protection as a clear, gentle glow that hums with peace around the body like a soft blue aurora, and if worry tries to knock, let the light answer the door, let it say what is true: we are full here, full of trust, full of quiet courage, full of gratitude, no vacancy for fear. And as that stance becomes familiar, decisions that once felt heavy grow suddenly lighter, because clarity is weightless, and heaven speaks with simplicity that needs no argument to be obvious. There will be places where bridges appear, conversations that heal instead of harden, opportunities that match the shape of this calling without contortion, and provisions that arrive like steady rain rather than thunderstorm, because this chapter values continuity over spectacle, substance over noise, and fruit over fireworks. Receive it all as a gentle curriculum: peace first, then steps, steps first, then momentum, momentum guided, then fulfillment that feels like rest, not exhaustion. Some pages will turn quickly in the coming days, the letter answered, the file approved, the door opening with less effort than expected, and some will turn slowly, by design, so the soul can savor and not sprint, so relationships can deepen and not fray, so growth can root and not snap in strong wind. Honor both speeds, for both are kind, and if the old habit of hurrying taps the shoulder, smile at it and let it pass by, the way one lets a wave pass when standing ankle-deep in a friendly ocean. Felt, acknowledged, and allowed to move on while the body remains steady in the sand. There is a line heaven writes now across the heart: you are not late, you are not lost, and you are not behind. You are right on time for a future that was not built in your absence, but prepared in your favor, so that when arrival met you, it called your name correctly and fit your hands without forcing. Receive that line as truth, and if doubt asks for credentials, offer it the evidence of this moment. Peace growing, breath evening, shoulders loosening, hope returning. None of these are accidents. They are signs that the soul recognizes home when it hears the door unlock. For the places that still ache, may the gentlest healing begin. No ripping, no rushing, no ripping out the stitch too soon. Let softness do its work, forgiveness where blame hardened, release where grasping cramped, and blessing where bitterness tried to root. These are not small matters, they are doorways, and Archangel Michael holds them open now, inviting each step to pass through to wider rooms where laughter returns without permission slips, and where rest is not a reward for perfection but a rhythm for the beloved. Breathe, and picture a slow river at golden hour, the surface catching light in 1,000 moving coins. Imagine laying the old story on a small wooden boat and nudging it gently from the shore, watching it glide away in gratitude for what it taught, without clinging to what it cannot carry forward. Then turn to the fresh path behind you, a narrow trail of soft moss, a line of lanterns lit at even intervals, an easy slope through a stand of tall trees, and notice how each lantern is a day already prepared, each flame a promise already fueled, each step a yes already welcomed by the ground. This is how heaven leads, not by pushing from behind but by lighting from ahead. If there are choices before you, and there will be, choose the one that expands peace inside the chest, the one that keeps love as the center and truth as the tone, the one that feels like clean water rather than loud sugar. Choose what you can sustain with joy, choose what feels like partnership with grace rather than a performance for applause, because applause fades, but grace remains and grows. Over the next 10 minutes, expect a small sign, a warmth across the shoulders, a breath that becomes unexpectedly easy, a sense that the room is brighter than it was, a thought that lands like a gift with its own bow. Do not strain for it, signs find the rested, simply be here, gently present, and let the present be heaven's address to this name, spoken clearly, full of recognition, full of affection, full of quiet celebration that this moment was kept and not missed. For the work of the hands, a blessing, let focus come cleanly, let creativity come kindly, let provision come steadily. May the right help find you, the right doors open to you, and the right timing protect you. And for the circle of relationships, a blessing. May listening be deeper than opinion, tenderness stronger than memory, courage softer than pride. May bridges be favored over walls, and may truth travel with gentleness, leaving dignity intact even as change is invited. This is the way of heaven's wisdom, firm without force, bright without blinding, near without crowding. If worry tries to rehearse old scenes, remember, the chapter has changed not by accident but by appointment, and appointments held by God are not fragile, they are sealed. Think of warm wax and a signet pressed. The imprint is set, recognizable from a distance, respected up close, and when lesser voices question, the seal itself answers. let that image stay with you when night grows quiet and thoughts look for something to hold. Let them hold the seal, finished, decided, done. Archangel Michael speaks now over thresholds to come. No weapon formed will find purchase, no whisper of confusion will gain authority, no familiar fear will be promoted to advisor. Instead, counsel will come from peace, guidance will come from clarity, and strength will come from joy, and joy is returning. Not as a brief fever but as a daily temperature, steady and kind, warming everything it touches, conversations, choices, tasks, and rest. For the body, a blessing, may sleep be complete and renewing, may breath be easy and full, may tension find the door and follow it out, may energy come in waves of enough, precisely when needed, and for the mind, a blessing, may clutter fall away, may priorities become elegant and simple, may the next right thing ring like a clear bell in a quiet room, and for the spirit, a blessing, may confidence be humble, may humility be confident, and may hope be both anchor and sail, anchoring against fear, carrying into promise. Beloved, this is the closing movement of the word and the opening movement of the walk. Let the two meet like the tide meets the shore, gently, absolutely, predictably, again and again, morning by morning. When you wake, say simply, "Thank you for what you have already arranged, lead me in the light I have." When you lie down, say, "Thank you for what you guarded while I rested, keep watch as I sleep." These small prayers are not small. They are daily doors to a house heaven loves to fill. And now, receive the seal, peace to the mind, peace to the room, peace to the path, favor before and behind, protection on every side, and clarity like a lamp held at the perfect height, making each step honest and safe. This is not fragile blessing. It is reinforced by the faithfulness of the one who finishes what he begins. And he has begun in you a beautiful newness that does not fear the future because it knows the author. Let the final word settle like soft rain, like blue light on still water, like morning entering a quiet kitchen. It is done, it is sealed, it is safe. Walk forward when the heart nods yes, rest when peace asks you to pause, and listen for the kind instructions that always arrive on time. Archangel Michael stands beside you, guardians at your flanks, grace before you, goodness behind you, and mercy keeping count of every step so none are wasted. Breathe once more, slowly, and let gratitude be the first move of this new day, and as this message comes to its last echo, know that the last echo is truly the first bell of your next beginning. Step through now, light, steady, and certain, for heaven has spoken and the way is open.